Hi, everybody. Yesterday I had a very interesting conversation on Discord, and I kept thinking about it all afternoon. This morning I made a 28-minute video on it without any sound. If you want to know what that looks like, it looks like this. It looks like that. So I'm not very happy. If I have a little bit of attitude in my voice, sorry about that. I'm just upset with myself. So let's explain this theory and see if I can do it under 3 minutes so it doesn't go 28 minutes long. So the conversation we had in Discord yesterday was about server unification. It seems to me that it's impossible for the server not to unify. So here's a typical battle. When we get to Vera, we're going to attack all the castles and take them from the monsters. And it's going to look like this. These are all used to belong to monsters, now they belong to human people in real life, like you and I. So once we get into the castles, we're going to fight each other. It's just like a football tournament or a baseball tournament, soccer tournament, whatever. White fights blue, yellow fights green. Pink doesn't fight anyone because it doesn't have an opponent. So, in the next round, green and yellow fight pink, and they win because there's 2 versus 1. 2 armies versus 1 army, and they win. Even though pink has had 2 months to prepare for an attack, they're still going to win here. The 2 castles are still going to win because they have their army is twice as big. So in this round, these 2 fight. Blue doesn't have an opponent, so it comes over here. And then these fight, and there's server unification. I'm trying to talk really fast, which is not usual for me. So these 2 castles will not merge, according to, Diggs asked me this morning. They're not going to merge, but they're going to have the power of 2 castles. If the white one wins over the blue one, they're going to put their friend in here, or they're going to have somebody to command the blue castle. So these 2 are going to fight like they're together. It doesn't matter who wins here at all, because the winner is going to have the power of 2 castles combined. It doesn't matter who wins here. The winner is going to have the power of 2 castles combined. What matters is that the attacking castle needs to win for this to happen. If the attacking castle does not win, it's going to look like this. So here, white and blue fought each other, but white did not win. This was a fail. So the white king still controls the white castle, the blue king still controls the blue king. Here, they fought and the green king won. Or the yellow one, it doesn't really matter. In the next round, they attack the pink one, and they absorb it. These people, once they see this, that they're going to fight these coming up, these guys declare an alliance, and they say, hey, we need to do an alliance, because we're going to fight these people. So they don't fight this round. Instead, it goes to the next round, and this thing, he just picks these guys off one at a time. Doot, doot. And then he wins. And server unification in 5. I didn't explain that correctly. In this scenario, blue and white declare an alliance. So they don't fight in this round. Pink doesn't fight because it can't fight. It has no opponent. If it attacks the blue one, white will help them, and pink will lose. If it attacks the white one, blue will help them, and pink will lose. So pink doesn't fight. It would be suicide. These guys still fight. In the next round, they take over pink. These guys are like, uh-oh, let's band together to fight these guys, and we still get server unification in 4 months this time. So at this point, I stopped making these charts because there would be too many charts, and in every scenario I can think of, it still ends in server unification. I mean, think of it, okay? Let's do another scenario. These 3 castles declare an alliance together. It looks like this. 3 against 2. If 4 castles declare an alliance together, it looks like this. 4 against 1. And you still get unified. 3 against 2, it still gets unified. 4 against 1, it still gets unified. These 2 declare an alliance, and these 2 declare an alliance. It looks like this, and then it goes like this, and then it still gets unified. In every scenario you can think of, you can just think about this. Go ahead and pause the video for about half an hour, and then come back. Half an hour later. Now it's half an hour later, and you can see that every scenario ends with server unification. What do I mean by server unification? I mean peace. Peace throughout the land of Vera. One king or queen to control them all. So that would not be good. Or would it? We'll talk about that in a minute. Now let's talk about something else that I talked about in my 28-minute video. Let's talk about server unification for a minute. Isn't that what we want? Because we're coming back to Vera to kill the monsters and take back the planet. Isn't our goal peace throughout the land? Isn't that our actual goal? To come back, take Vera away from the monsters, and unify the planet so we can all live happily ever after? So what happens if that actually occurs? Well, there's nobody to fight with is what happens. The game becomes PvE, player versus environment, because there's nobody to fight with. All these castles are now friends. They're unified under the same queen or king. So we're all friends and we have nobody to fight. That's not good. The entire game becomes PvE, which is good for me because I'm PvE guy. But it might be bad for you because you're PvP guy or girl. So let's talk about the other scenario. Monsters. So Damocles says, well, let's not get to that because that's the end of this episode. Okay, let's get down to the other comments. Let's get down to what Diggs said. Diggs said I got my numbers wrong because I'm saying 5,000 and there's only 500 people per battle. Diggs is correct. I did get my numbers wrong right here. These are the populations of people. This could still be true, all of this, except only 500 people will be able to attack the castle. 500 greens, 500 yellows, 500 blues, 500 pink, 500 oranges. Because the battles are only capable of sustaining 500 people in them. So Diggs, you're correct. I'm wrong. My numbers are wrong. Diggs likes frogs like me. But then Diggs says stuff about gills. And then Grissu says, I think I'm a bad apple that can conquer the whole thing. He'd like to see that, or she'd like to see that. No, it's not about me. And it's not about guilds. And it's not about tactics or strategy. And then somebody else says, somebody else said it about politics. You know, I could just be voted out as king if people don't like me. None of that matters. I'll show you why. Let's say Stephen is the king of the White Castle here. Stephen, White Castle. He wins this battle because he's Stephen. He's bad. And then he wins this battle against 3 other castles because he's bad and he's Stephen. He's awesome. And then Stephen is the one who unifies the kingdom. His advanced tactics and strategy win the entire kingdom because eventually he has to fight these people here. See, so that's tactics. It doesn't really matter because the server still gets unified. So how about people? Let's say that I'm the owner of the blue castle. Then we come over here and I get voted out of office. Whoever succeeds me still has to face this situation here. And they still have to make a decision. Are you going to attack this white thing? Or are you going to ally yourself with them? And what are you going to do about these folks down here? You're still in the same spot that I was in. The only thing that changes is your name, or my name. Instead of King Sunfrog, it becomes King Bob or King Terra or whatever. So changing the people doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's say you take over for me right here. and then you attack the White Castle. Now you're in this situation, and then if you win or if you lose, it doesn't matter. The server gets unified. It just gets unified with a different person. You're the one that did it, not me. So then there's other theories. Let's see, strategy, replacing rulers, guilds. Guilds don't matter either. It doesn't matter who owns the pink guild, because in the end it gets unified. It doesn't matter who owns the white guild, because in the end it still gets unified. It doesn't matter if the guilds change hands. In the end it still gets unified. So there's nothing you can do. Basically everything you can think of doesn't matter, because the flow always ends in unification. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to unification. It doesn't matter. But Damocles actually solved it. So I thought about this for about 11 hours, and then I was getting ready to go to bed, and I sat down in the lazy boy over there, and I was ready to watch TV and go to bed. And then I figured out the answer. How do you get out of this Kobayashi Maru situation where nobody can win? It always ends in unification, always. So Damocles is the actual hero here, because Damocles solved it. He or she solved it. It seems that you think only castle owners are the strong here. Well, in fact, I think that they should watch out more for infighting and power plays. Okay, that's not the part, because it doesn't matter. If I get replaced by Damocles right here, Damocles is still in this situation. He either has to fight the White Castle, or he has to ally himself with the White Castle. And then he has to fight these guys, and the server still unifies. It doesn't matter. This is the part that solves it. It can be that one group loses their castle to outlying factors, like eventually scaling monster hordes or player factions. Player factions don't matter. Scaling monster hordes. What? Monsters. That's how you solve this situation. Monsters. Here, we're all human. We took the castles from the monsters. Something happens here in month number 2. And then the monsters come back, and they attack us, and they knock us all the way back here. Now all these castles are reset to 0 again. Not to 0, they're all reset again. Here, a regular scenario. These are all human controlled. We fight. Somebody wins. And then we get to this stage. We get attacked by monsters. The monsters win and knock us all the way back here. So then it's 2 together versus 3 alone, which looks like this. 2 together versus 3 alone. And then it still plays out like this until the monsters attack and they knock us from here all the way back to here. Back to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The monsters have to knock us out of the castles. But in Ashes of Creation, they actually win. Because that's the only way out of this Kobayashi Maru situation where everything ends in server unification. The monsters knock us from here back to here. Back to square one. They can even knock us from here back to square one. They can even attack us here after server is unified and we go back to here. What if the monsters lose every time, just like monsters always lose? If monsters lose all the time, then nothing happens and we always end up in server unification. There's just a 1-month delay. So I'll show you. This happens. This situation happens. These guys fight. These people fight. And this situation happens. The monsters attack right here where this white line is. There's a 1-month delay because the castle needs a 1-month cooldown period. The monsters are defeated and now we're still in this situation. Just 1 month later. And then we just continue until we unify the server. If the monsters attack us here where this white line is, it's just a 1-month delay until we can fight again. And then we still end up in this situation. That's why the monsters can't lose every single time. There has to be times when the monsters win. And it has to be frequently. I mean a lot. I don't mean the monsters have a 10% chance of winning, because that's not enough. They don't have a 50% chance of winning, because that's not enough either. If they had a 50% chance of success, server would unify in maybe 8 or 9 months instead of 4 months. They have to win about 70% of the time. That's a lot of winning. That's so much winning, we'll get sick of them winning. Those monsters will win so much, we'll get sick of them winning. they have to win a lot, like 70% of the time. They have to keep knocking us back to the Stone Age, where we're back out here, you know, fighting to gain control of the castles again. And that, my friends, is going to be awesome, because that's going to be a gigantic battle, with monsters coming over the walls and through the gates and knocking down the walls and setting everything on fire and kicking over the braziers and everything else, and we're going to get beat out, and we're going to end up back here in the streets eating berries off the floor, and we're going to say, oh my gosh, holy crap, what happened? The monsters just took our castle, which was way over here. We were doing awesome. We thought we were going to win, and the monsters kicked us back into the weeds out here. That's going to be awesome. Or we're going to unify the server, and we're going to be like, yes, I'm the greatest dude that ever lived. What? Holy crap. We got our butts, we got our behinds kicked all the way back to the weeds again. Now we got to fight back into the castles, because all the castles are now owned by monsters. If they only win 10% of the time, all they're doing is just changing the pattern of these pink lines here. It just plays out differently. If this one falls, then it just changes the little pink lines around. If this one falls, it just changes the pink lines around. But eventually everything ends up with unification. Now, let's talk about unification. What actually happens, and will servers actually be unified? And the answer is yes, they're going to be unified. And Steven knows this. That's why he programmed arenas. What happens if the server becomes unified and nobody fights with each other? The game becomes player versus environment. What happens to the PvP people? They get bored. They have no one to fight. So you create arenas so they can fight somebody. The PvP people go into the arenas and fight each other for a while, until the monsters come and wipe us out and kick us back to the Stone Age. And then the PvPers, they get people to fight again, because we got to fight our way back up in here. That's the reason for the arenas, to give, when server unification happens, and it will happen after maybe about a year or a year and a half, instead of 4 or 5 months, because the monsters, we got to contend with the monsters now. And then we'll get kicked back to the Stone Age and we'll start all over again. And that's how this whole entire thing works. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this show, and I hope it was not 28 minutes long. Ah, crap, it's 25 minutes long. Anyway, I think Margaret's going to come out with a new blog today on Monday, and then they're going to talk about it tomorrow on the Twitchcast. Because what else would they talk about? We already have a ton of information. We have so much information, I'm kind of sick of talking about Ashes of Creation. Okay, so I'm going to sign off because this video is 26 minutes long and I didn't talk fast enough even though I thought I would. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. Because I need like 8 million more subscribers so I can do a collab with iJustine. So if you want to help me go out on a date with a girl from the internet, subscribe. I need 8 million subscribers. Alright. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry this was just a throwaway video, but, you know, Twitchcast tomorrow. More videos about that. Who knows what they'll talk about? I don't know. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.